Say amen to the prayer.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dakwaloba, for that beautiful prayer. So please, up next now is the national anthem. Please stay tuned as we listen. Blessed. Nigeria shall be blessed. Thank you very much, everyone, once again for joining us on this platform. I'm sure we'll continue to have more introduction as we progress. We have on this call Mr. Adewale Taiwo, Dr. Adewale Taiwo, I beg your pardon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on this call. We have, I can see Alhaji Adefila. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your presence. We have with us this evening also, I want to believe Mr. Abdulwasi Orekoya. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you for joining us this evening. We have Mr. Adedeji Oyemade. Thank you very much for joining in. Without wasting time, we go straight to the welcome address by Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo FCA, the leader of MFP Group Nigeria and the president, CEO, MFP Global Services. Please welcome with me to the mic, Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo. Doctor, sir, you have the floor. Dr. Prince, sir. Dr. Oyedepo, sir.
Are you with me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
We can hear you now, sir.
So we can hear you loud and clear. Hear you, sir.
Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
For the services. I thank you for believing in us. I thank you for encouraging us since we started this free public lecture. Without you, we can do nothing. So on behalf of the team managing the platform and the group, I want to thank you sincerely for being part of the previous editions and also this edition. As you are aware, the economy of this country, Nigeria, has remained so fragile, despite various policies being introduced by successive governments, this government inclusive. Some of the indices to confirm that the economy is still fragile is the fact that we have inflation on the increase on daily basis. The rate of employment keeps increasing. Insecurity yet, unabated. Corruption is increased. And we have business collapse almost on daily basis. Then we have every reliance on imported goods and services to survive as a nation. Then the currency devaluation is pathetic. The fact that capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure. So we keep borrowing externally. And that's what has made the FAC allocation, which has been on the increase, insufficient, to be able to propel development in the country. And we now have people living in penury. People are living from hand to mouth, including professionals. Accountants also inclusive. Some are begging for alms for survival in the country where we are supposed to have plenty of resources. So the situation is very precarious. Then the economic downturn has remained so for a very long time, despite the fact that we have professionals and people in academics, in government. We have chartered accountants, many of them in government, doctors, lawyers, professors, PhD holders in government. Yet the economy remains fragile and as it's supposed to be. Some of the questions that are people is the fact that is it that the economic predicament is devoid of solutions? Is it that the policies are not ideal for this environment? Is it due to poor implementation? Is it due to greediness of some people to frustrate the system? These are some of the issues to be researched upon for us to get to the root of it. And I know that so many, people in academics that can help us, carry out that research. Research has to be conducted. Why are those policies being introduced almost from time to time not working in Nigeria? Professional accountants should be in the forefront to unravel the mystery and lead others to offer lasting solutions to redress the situation. As professional accountants, we have critical role to play to strengthen the economy, some of which includes, one, we must live by example and avoid being corrupt or being greedy. The greediness of a person can be misinterpreted to be greediness of most. And that's what is happening in Nigeria. The accountant is greedy or corrupt. They take it, all accountants are corrupt. Even if it is an accountant by nomenclature alone, the person is not a chartered accountant, they take it that. So we should change that trend. We must guide against being corrupt. That's why people who amass resources, they do not even know need in their life. Professionals must embrace entrepreneurship to survive. It's not right for chartered accountants to be unemployed. We have proficiencies to sustain us. If we go into entrepreneurship, you can set up consulting firm, you can set up audit practice, tax practice, you can go into farming, you can go into a lot of things with your proficiency, your knowledge in accounting, accountancy, and economy. And you see some of our members, like I doing nothing. We should change narrative. We should display our proficiencies in words and actions, to encourage others. 3, not minding our affiliation with any one of them, necessarily being confrontation. 4, we must assist the government at all levels in formulating homegrown policies that can stand the test of time, in none of foreign policies, which are not good for this economy, and we can lead others to formulate those policies. Let's do it out of the fact that we hold the nation that responsibility. We may not be paid for it. Let us sit down together, be able to brainstorm and write something to the government in form of policies that can address our own situation. And last but not the least, we must assist the government to curb corruption and combat wastages in Nigeria. In order to do so successfully, professional accountants and others should build capacity from time to time. You see, some of our members, by the time you organize free lectures, they don't show up. How can they build capacity like that? Free lectures, they don't show up, not to talk of, the lectures they are going to pay for. They should strive to update their skills and competencies. They should be familiar with contemporary issues and solutions to solve them in order to be relevant. They should not be laid back in speaking truth to power. And they should maintain discipline and honesty, being the hallmark of our profession. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me thank you for joining us within a few minutes of the commencement of the program. Some have even joined even before we started the program by 5 o'clock. So I want to thank you, and I assure you that our team will not relent in our efforts, to continue this free public lecture. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo. We appreciate you for that beautiful welcome address. And of course, like as you usually say, accountants, we have a lot to deliver to this country. You believe so much in us giving back to the community, giving back to the country, and of course, living up to the expectation of who people think we really are. Thank you very much for that reminder once again. God bless you, sir. So we just proceed now to the introduction of the chairman of session. And to help us with that is Professor Francis Kende, Emeni FCA. Professor Francis Kende, Emeni FCA, please, are you on this call, sir?
Yes, I'm on. Good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Professor Kende Emeni. It is my pleasure to introduce to you and do a citation of the chairman for today's public lecture. Our chairman today is a distinguished member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, in the person of Dr. Abel are saying. I think it deserves our round of applause. Dr. Aseng had a meritorious 20-year career with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Through the dint of hard work, doggedness, and resilience, he rose through the rank to become the Institute's Deputy Registrar for the Technical Services, now known as the Research and Technical Services of the Institute, in the year 2010, where he vetted 4 of the Institute's 7 faculties that we have today. He also attracted 2 World Bank grants to the Institute as a Deputy Registrar of ICANN, which produced the Institute's revised code of ethics for professional accountants, among other achievements. For 18 years, he was the Institute's official speechwriter and also served as Rapporteur General for several ICANN annual conferences. For his invaluable contribution to the ICANN, Dr. Aseng won prestigious ICANN Manager of the Year Award in 1997 and the Management Staff of the Year Award in 2004. For his immense contribution to the development of forensic accounting in Nigeria, in April 2016, he was honored by the Lagos chapter of the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. He is a member of the Board of Trustees of the MFP Group and current Executive Secretary of accountancy bodies in West Africa, popularly known as ABWA. Dr. Aseng holds a Bachelor's of Science degree, second class upper division, and a Master's of Science degree in Economics from the University of Lagos. He also holds another Master's degree in Business Administration from the University of Ibadan. Through academic excellence, he was awarded a Doctor of Philosophy degree in accounting by Babcock University. He was the best graduating Masters of Business Administration student during his set in the University of Ibadan. He is an avid researcher with over 50 publications in reputable national and international journals. Dr. Aseng, who is serving as our chairman today, is a fellow of the Institute of Accountants of Nigeria, fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, fellow of Forensic Accounting Professors, a certified fraud examiner of management. He is truly an eminent scholar and a professional par excellence. A round of applause for our chairman for this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the chairman for this public lecture, who will be taking us through the proceedings in the person of Dr. Abel Aseng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kehinde. We appreciate you. That was a very beautiful one. And like he said, I'm sure Dr. Aseng deserves a big round of applause. He's doing very well in the accounting world, this admin world, best graduating student, best this, best that, all of that. And of course, like I said earlier, distinguished colleagues, we are sure in safe hands. Thank you very much, Dr. Kehinde, for that beautiful introduction of our chairman of session once again. And
thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's go straight to the introduction of the guest speaker of this evening's edition of our free online training session. And to do that is Dr. Omaka Odim Omaka, FCA. Dr. Omaka, are you on this call, sir? Dr. Omaka. Hello, doctor. Dr. Omaka, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
We can hear you now, sir. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, sir.
Hello, can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Dr. Omaka, we can.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
We are hearing you, sir.
Eh? I don't know if you can hear me, please.
Dr. Omaka, we can hear you, sir. We can.
All right, thank you so much. Sorry for the break in transmission, but where I have some network challenges. But I'm very happy to be having the honor to introduce this high-profile personality, professional par excellence, and I'm also very proud to be associated with MFP Global. Dr. Prince Oyebade is doing a wonderful work for all of us in the promulgation and promotion of ICANN as an institute to beat. At this point, I've been given the privilege to introduce Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba, ACTI FCA. Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba was born over 5 decades ago to the family of late Dr. Kola and Mrs. Agnes Oladepopo of Oro, Kwara State. She grew up in a university community, which impacted on her behavior and educational pursuits. She had her elementary education in Nigeria and the United States of America. She attended Offa Grammar School, Offa, for her secondary education. She was the head prefect of the school as a proof of her leadership qualities and abilities. You can see that she started very early, not today. Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba graduated from the University of Maiduguri with a BSc degree in accounting in 1989. She has a master's degree in business administration from the University of Ibadan and a master's of science degree in economics from Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma. In addition, she has a PhD in accounting from Bowen University, Iwo, Osun State. She qualified as a chartered accountant in 1991. She's a qualified banker. Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, associate member of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, and Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN. She worked as the audit senior at Otsunola & Co. and KPMG in the 90s. She also worked at Afribank Nigeria PLC for some years before moving to the University of Ibadan as the Pine Director of Audit in the Internal Audit Department of the Premier University. Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba is the first female General Secretary of Ibadan and District Society of ICANN, OPSWAN, and the Pioneer Coordinator of Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria, SWAN of Ibadan, and the Society of ICANN. She is the Managing Consultant of Joy Worth Consulting and Executive Director of MFP Global Services, a multi-ethnic professional consulting outfit. She is a pastor at the Savior's House of Glory Ministries, Ibadan. Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba is happily married to Professor A.B. Saba, and the marriage is blessed with wonderful children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba for her presentation. Please help me to welcome him. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omaka. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction of our guest speaker for today. Of course, we can see love flying everywhere. Yes. Like I said, we are in for a very beautiful time this evening for us to have Dr. Mrs. Folake Shaba on this call as the guest lecturer. I'm sure it's going to be a very beautiful evening. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Omaka, for that beautiful introduction of our guest speaker. Now, let's move to the remark by the chairman of session, Dr. Ebel Asein, FCA. I yield the floor. Dr. Asein, sir.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
The convener of these MFP group services, Dr. Prince Badi Oyedepo, FCA, our special guest of Chief Igbarola, FCA, our distinguished professional colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me start by thanking the anchor for kind words to Professor Emeni for the brilliant presentation of my. Before I give my address, let me crave your indulgence to request that we observe a minute silence in honor of Prince Wahid Adereyedepo, who passed on last week. That's the elder brother of Dr. Prince Oyedepo. Of 1 minute silence. May his great and soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
And we also go with be with the family for them at this trying hour. So thank you all. I feel greatly honored to have been requested to chair this session. So I might know what happened. When the laptop is not coming, you can hear my voice. So I'm happy to chair the session. I presented first lecture, the 8th in 2022. And since then, we've had, this is the 7th edition that we're having, clearly showing that we are focused and we know where we are going to. The topic of deliberation strategies in a VUCA world, the Nigerian experience, reminds me of my days in University of Ibadan. Expressions he ascribed to the former First Lady of USA, Eleanor Roosevelt. The three of them are like this. Great entities make things happen. Some watch what is happening, and some wonder what has happened. What implies that when some are strategizing change through innovation and creating the future that they deserve, some are just following up. They are watching and reacting, playing catch-up game. While some others, especially the lazy ones, are wondering what happened, that their market appeared. The example of this that we are familiar with, Nokia story. Nokia had this slogan as connecting. But when Microsoft took over in 2014, the CEO of Nokia was reported to have said, and I quote, "We did not do wrong." He said, "We didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost." He said they didn't do anything wrong. They were doing business the normal way. They lost. Why did they lose? They lost because the competitors in that same field knew what to do better than them. They were stronger and more powerful. And so they lost the business to their competitors. In our local environment, many of us are familiar with glass manufacturing companies. Containers, glass containers, glasses for drinking water that we use in our homes. But suddenly the market changed. The market changed. And you find that plastic companies are now producing the products for these same organizations. For those who are drinking water or drinking soft drinks, straws have taken over that part of business. The glass manufacturers don't do anything wrong, but the change in the environment was beyond them. So those their production had to scale it down to accommodate changes that they didn't envisage. To say today is that you don't need to do anything to fail. If you're doing your business the normal way without embracing change, without innovating, the market will move on and you'll be left behind. Bill Gates that he wrote, titled Business at the Speed of Thought, captures the essence of the topic we are looking at today. There are a lot be happening in the business environment that you do not understand, but you must take advantage of those happenings and ensure that you are able to retain your own business. So welcome to Vuca. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, which we are bringing our searchlight on today. Although I did not have the privilege before now, I'm sure that the resource person will give us an insight. Clearly, what we are experiencing from what the is an issue of policy inconsistency. It's an issue of the government suddenly introducing without thinking them through. And those policies are affecting businesses. Those who are from the environment. Those who are able to cope, who are able to adapt, are introducing new innovations to be sure that remain relevant in business. So I want to yield the floor to the resource person so that she can give us greater insights. Is that the Vuca environment we have in Nigeria is clearly issues of public policies that are driving businesses at easily. It's my pleasure to welcome very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I hope. Okay.
Yes, ma. You have the floor, ma.
Good evening to everyone. I want to say a big thank you. Opportunity to actually get this paper. I want to say a big thank you to our chairman of session, Dr. Abel saying. Group, Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo. We actually say our deep sympathy to loss. And just like the chairman of session said, we pray that God will comfort your heart at the loss of Alhaji Prince Waheed Oyedepo. I want to also I see very innovative, very educative posts. Sometimes I had to read it in areas, and I'm 1,000 posts. It's a very dynamic group, and I say continue in that same spirit. Now to the paper. I'll be talking on business strategies, business survival strategies in a VUCA world, particularly the Nigerian experience. you will agree with me that business activities have attracted several theoretical and practical attention, not only at the local level, but also at global level, due to the significant effect it could pose on the in economic growth. The fact is, when businesses are challenged, the economy is challenged. Growth is questioned. When people can, it puts an impact on their businesses. And in the macro setting, it affects the whole. The business activities affect the level of economic growth in any nation. And we listened to when the leader of the group, Dr. Prince Oyedepo, was talking about right now, talking about the instability in currency and quite a lot of things. I want to start by doing some definition of terminologies. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity has become a threat to business continuity. This is what we refer to as the Vuca, I mean, the acronyms that comes out of these particular alphabets. What do you mean by volatile? I mean, business having to survive in a very volatile environment. The volatility refers to the speed and magnitude of changes in the environment. Things change almost on a daily basis. Of course, you and I know that in the last 3 weeks, probably you have had to buy fuel at first stations and you see different prices. We're told, okay, Dangote will leave today and then it will leave till tomorrow. Crude oil is being imported. I mean, and different things. The environment is, the business environment is so volatile. It's so volatile that you see things happening every day in the environment. So that is a threat to the overall business environment. Then we talk about the uncertainty. When we talk about uncertainty, we mean the lack of predictability in certain issues and occurrences. As accountants, we are prone to make, to make accrual even for some expenses. Now, I wonder if the accruals really work. If you really want to be prudent, I mean, you accrue for some expenses, and before you even pay for it, that probably doubled. And financial statements to look funny. So, the lack of stability is what we refer to as uncertainty. And of course, it's a threat to the business environment. Then we talk about the complexity. Complexity refers to the multitude of forces or factors to be considered in the environment. Thinking of food insecurity, you are thinking of alongside, you are thinking of infrastructure, you are thinking of power, you are thinking of, there are so many things to consider when you're running your business. I think it was barely just 2 or 3 years ago that we had the deputy vice chancellor of the university being kidnapped, and they threw the whole university environment into something else. They had to be getting money here and there and all that, and it leads to complex decisions that business owners had to really face. Then the ambiguity. I think for me, most challenging. Ambiguity refers to the lack of clarity about the meaning of occurrences. and events in the environment. Somebody said when you want to go out, you have to look left and right and then right again. You are not crossing the road, but you're only, trying to go out. That you see in the environment. I had a young entrepreneur tell me about 3-4 months ago how he had to leave his gathered by his door, in that particular environment. And they will just come by the door before he comes out. And they are imagining that, okay, a man that has a hotel of our needs. So, pressure for him, and he had to just leave the environment and go and rent a place, at least in the interim. Those are the kind of, ambiguous issues that we find around businesses. This is because the Nigerian business environment has been affected by several challenges, some of which we'll also be going into as we speak. Now, several efforts have been made to address the poor business environment, and quite a number of research work has been done in this area. Recently, we read a journal by Joseph Obiakono in 2022, where they looked at how businesses measure up amidst themselves, trying to navigate across the various challenges to at least stay competitive and enhance and strive business performance and sustainability. Sustainability has become an issue of concern in most of these businesses. Therefore, we are looking at the business strategies that could simply be, available to, if not sustain these businesses, at least ensure that, they do their bit and come to what they actually projected in the short run. So what do we mean by business strategies? Business strategies could simply be defined as the different strategies that business owners could take to cushion challenges towards enhancing the propensity for ease of doing business and better business outcomes. According to Well in 2023, a business strategy tends to outline the very plans of action to better achieve the business set objectives, and also serve as a guide in decision-making process towards improving business stability and sustainability. Often it focuses on the long-term goals of the business and also serves as guide in the decision-making process towards achieving stability. Now, if you look at what we have now, there is and this has actually resulted to about 95% of business failures. And of course, this is due to the fact could not put in place things that were necessary. The Vuca issues that we are talking about, met quite a number of people without plan. It met, said, if you actually don't move from a spot, you are actually going behind because the world is moving. And if you are saying that you are quitting, you have actually left when you stopped, doing certain innovative things that could make you to go forward. Move with what is happening in your environment. Then, of course, the whole world is already leaving you behind. Now, I'm looking will actually be required. Now, at the corporate level, let's start with the corporate level. Business strategic plans originate from achieving long-term performance of business and could cut across decision-making to affect group acquisitions, diversifications, and investments. For the business level strategies, focus on corporate vision is required by turning them into concrete strategies that could be useful in the increasing competitiveness in the markets. The business strategies at functional level, those are designed to answer, issues of marketing, HR, research and development, partaking in the business and corporate strategies. In survive the rapidly changing and increasing complex world with respect to Vuca, business must adapt to the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous business environment. This was said by Panel. Actually getting out of this VUCA situation. That is what? Adaptation. Adaptation. Businesses must what do we do to ensure that we actually change? If we don't change with the environment will swallow us up. And so at the corporate level, every company, every enterprise must strive to ensure this. How do they do this? They develop some planning, some strategic planning where they involve all the workers. They involve the team that are involved in carrying out the decisions. And then they bring out what is called flexible financial strategies, quite flexible, so that once there is a change to a certain plan, then of course they change along with it. Very germane was a particular paper that I read while preparing for this particular program. And that was by Akiso in 2018. He talked about also strategies for sustainability, operational strategies, and development. And of course, looking at ways the corporate body. People have been talking about having hybrid employments. In some cases, you don't have people going to work every time anymore. Possibility of probably increasing salaries and all that. Maybe 2 days in a week, you find out in some institutes that they ask their staff to come only 2 days in a week to come and work, and then the 3 days they work remotely. And embracing this type of hybrid situation has actually saved some businesses. Now, Choma, can you help me with the slide on, okay, thank you. I think I can see it now. Now, so we talk about the general objective of the study, which is, of course, to investigate the various business survival strategies deployed by businesses in Nigeria with a focus on those are the strategies we are talking about now. I just want to ensure that we are all following. Okay. Okay. In the write-up, we talked about the methodology used and the objectives of the paper, which of course is what I just read now. Now, the search process was informed by what you call the PICOS framework. The PICOS framework looks at the problem, which is, in this study, the challenges faced by businesses in a VUCA environment. We look at the intervention, PICOS, that is the mnemonics that is being used. The problem, then the I stands for the intervention, which is business strategies to cushion the various challenges in the VUCA environment. We look at the comparison. In this case, that is suspended because they really do not exist. Then we look at the outcomes, that is the cost, that cuts across the outcomes of businesses in using the strategies in the VUCA environment. Then we look at the study type, whether it is review, quantitative, qualitative, and all that and all that. The initial searching process was done in August 2024. That was after I got to know that we'll be doing this paper. And of course, it was repeated August 10 to 13 to be able to achieve the objective. In addition, the study deployed the current review in reviewing the literature to achieve the objective of this study. Several information were obtained from the internet, but only 14 papers were eventually used in the article to drive the focus of this article. Also, content analysis and thematic analysis were deployed to subject the secondary information and materials obtained to analyze, while the results were presented to better explain the research objective. Outcome. Number one is the fact that we discovered that the ease of business operation in Nigeria in the VUCA environment is actually 62. Nigeria was ranked 131st attributing this position to a score of 56.9 among 190 economies. This was gathered from World Bank Group 2020 and SASU 2022. The ease of doing business in Nigeria was very high, with ranking of 170 in 2014 and improved to 131 in 2019, from 146 in 2018, and of course, it just kept getting, more and more difficult. Ease of doing business was one of the strategies that was used in the time of the administration of President Obasanjo to ensure that investors are interested in coming into the country or the other. You look at recently, we learned that MTN made a loss for the first time, in trillions, for the first time, particularly in Nigeria, because of some sanctions that so today, the Nigerian top 10 states for ease of doing business are listed. Of course, Gombe is with the highest, followed by Jigawa State, followed by Sokoto, and on like that, which implies that when you come south, it becomes more competitive because you have quite a number of players. And with these players, the ease just keeps reducing. However, from a general perspective, all the ease of doing business in Nigeria environment is not satisfactory due to the volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguous business environment as revealed by Bumel in 2017. 2017. The business challenges in Nigeria, according to Gumel in that 2017, the business challenges are, some of them are seen as following. We have mentioned some of them before. We talked about infrastructure. We talked about the insufficient infrastructure, the poor infrastructure. We talked about the business management incompetence. We talk about the lack of government support, multiple taxation, lack of financial institution support, and all that. We see quite a number of banks right now trying to shore up capital because of the new capitalization requirement of the government. Yes, it is required, but how are they helping them? Somebody told me the other day, he said, to actually be able to shore up this capital is going to take, he was referring to a particular mountain. Why? Because people are not even buying the shares. Some of the banks have gone to the stock market. Quite a number of people are not selling because they are not buying because they recall some of the things that they went through in the past. So proud work experience, experiences of customers have actually affected sustainability of some of these businesses. You look around and you see some businesses that were operating, 4-5 years ago, today, they are no more. Quite a number of manufacturing businesses left even Badon in Oyo State of corruption. The leader of the MFA group said the other time, once an accountant, even if it is not a professional accountant, does something that is against the institution, it is seen as if everyone participated in it. Now, we have said so much about the problems. Let's now emphasize the strategies. Business survival strategies in Nigeria in a Vuca environment. For us to go forward as, auditors, consultants, advisors of business institutions, we have talked about that we should employ flexible financial strategy. The second issue I've been talking about is the market must position itself aright. I always say, if you cannot be the first, just don't be the last. You may not be the first, but don't be the last. Position yourself so rightly. Work after those particular objectives that you have set to ensure that businesses, that business is sustained as far as possible. You can use the option of pricing. You can use the option of multiplicity of your products. You can use the option of margin setting for your products. You can use the option of delivery. There are so many businesses. Why people are actually still doing business with them is because of options of the products. So there are different strategies that can be employed. A financial strategy focuses on using better assets to profit plow back, enhancing financial literacy depending on personal equity, high financial cost, using accountants and attorney, using of paid professional advisors. Quite a number of people do not like using professionals. It may be cheap in the short run, but in the long run, it's more expensive. You decide that, okay, if I don't use someone that is a professional, this one, he will do it very fast. He will do it. And of course, at the end of the day, there are things that come out of it. We all know as accountants what can be the fall. Recently, in a particular business that I do, I in some people to advise me. professionals. I had to pay for their services, but of course it paid off because no one knows it all. All right. So the use of positioning to cushion this, the use of positioning, yes, to actually cushion these business challenges also include the use of effective market plan and reliance on multiple products. I say it by way of passing that if as accountants right now we're only doing one thing, it might be a bit risky. And that's why we have all these trainings so that we can develop capacity area or the other. So while income is being generated through maybe the audit practice, you can also generate income from, tax consultancy. You can also generate income from, farming, and things like that. But survival has to come in through different ways. All right. Now let's look at the effect of business strategy in Nigeria. When Long, 2014, and Akinso, 2018, management team members use of effective strategies for business profitability, flexible financial strategy. Sorry? Okay. Market positioning and efficient deployment and use of infrastructure pose significant effects on business productivity, competitiveness, and sustainability in the long run. Also, Broodement in 2022 noted that enhancing the business owner's skills and knowledge, providing an excellent customer service, ensuring sales record and inventory, ensuring the propensity for employees' retention do create a significant resonance on the business outcome in the long run, proportion, and in the right places and time. You and I, we agree that there are some staff that when they leave us, it is like starting all over again. So we have to employ strategies that we encourage our long-serving staff, particularly those ones that we have trained over the years, to stay committed to us, because starting all over again can be very expensive and can take business a bit backward. So we must ensure that our employee retention is high. Employee retention is high, and that, of course, will give us competitive advantage. How can I keep a staff for, say, 15 years and he will not want to leave? It depends. It's a very relative term, but it's something that every business, particularly staff that have understood the business terrain quite well. This makes the and use of survival business strategies to be very germane in Nigeria. These could be businesses that do not deploy such survival business strategies may either fail or experience reduced performance, which could affect their growth and development in the long run. According to the Industrial Renaissance of 2024, Nigeria used to be the largest investment market in Africa. And it used to be a safe place for foreign investors. But now, the Vuca environment has driven them away. So we are discussing these strategies to be able to bring them back, to be able to ensure that even when they come, they can grow. Growth in the economy 2000 and 2014 was said to be about 7% in Nigeria. That is by as as stated by the World Bank Group in 2024. But in 2015 to 2022, we saw decline leading to the present inflation that we have. Inflation now is close to 37, 38%. Many are ignorant of the strategies to put in place. And some of these things that we have discussed are the things I feel needed to be implemented, ensure that these businesses survive. Per statistics, we are told that at least 50 businesses collapse every 6 months. That is too high. Focusing on the fact that the PICOS framework should be put in place. Each business should look at the problem, the intervention, the comparison, the outwork, the outcome, of course, be able to just propose whatever type of recommendation that they may be wanting to put in place. In conclusion, the study investigates the various business survival strategies deployed by businesses in Nigeria with a focus on the Vuca environment using a systematic scoping review method. The outcome of the study revealed that Nigerian businesses are exposed to wide ranges of challenges which hamper their productivity and development. However, in order to stay in business, the owners and managers must deploy several survival business strategies, of course, some of which are subjective, to help cushion these various challenges and also increase their likelihood to increase the performance, competitive advantage, and sustainability, particularly with respect to globalization effects, even within the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous business environment. These survival business strategies are noted to create significant resonance on the business performance, competitive advantage, and sustainability, hence guaranteeing the continuity and sustainability of these businesses in Nigeria. However, businesses that do not deploy these strategies may either fail or experience reduction, which could affect their growth and development in the long run. From the study, there are a few recommendations that I bring up. The Nigerian government should intervene in providing support to Nigerian businesses towards enhancing their propensity to be able to cushion the various challenges they face. Businesses are facing a lot of challenges. Sometimes it's even the issue of capital. It is in the challenge of deploying even the capital rightly. Just today, I had to buy fuel of, I think, 65,000. And then in the process, I had to also buy, change my engine oil for some reason, because it's, I think, 4 months now. I just found out that in one day, I spent close to 100,000 on maintaining the vehicle. Let's imagine that it's a company that has a fleet of about maybe 6, 7. The cost of maintaining those vehicles can be so much. So some of us here, we are really looking forward to, Dangote, giving bringing forth the fuel to the economy, and probably the Port Harcourt refinery coming back alive, so that the cost of doing business can reduce. What we are saying is government should intervene. Bring an environment that can be so profitable and can push ahead the efforts of business owners. Such support could also cut across provision of financial aid. We saw recently the deployment of CNG into different states, and they are saying that will reduce the cost of fueling and all that. If particularly is going to be given to, businesses that actually require it. Somebody now told me that, okay, if you are converting to CNG, you will need about 1 million naira or so. I said that is another capital expenditure. So we have to look at it versus what we have presently. How available will those how available will the gas be when you actually convert? Or is it going to be situations where you are driving your car that is now CNG driven and on the road there's no gas and your vehicle has to be there for some time? So some of these things are the things that we are calling for from the government to support financial aid in different ways, not particularly in value, but of course in aids. Then we talk about workshops to provide training for skills acquisition and development. Trainings. Each time we're about government interfering, what do we see government doing? They push out rice. We are talking about energy. Somebody is talking about rice. We are talking about being able to pay, school fees in the university. Somebody is talking about rice. Recently, in the University of Ibadan, students had to go on rampage because of the increased cost of, education. Yes, loan was open to them, but just a fraction were able to have conditions that were tied to it. And these are children that are funded by business owners, funded by entrepreneurs, funded by parents that are just making efforts to make ends meet. So government should look at ways by which they can actually provide skill acquisition for some of these young ones, things that they can even do while and develop them to provide a better business environment amidst others. Also, stakeholders such as policymakers, international organizations, and local organizations and others could come to play in providing support to Nigerian businesses, in organizing workshops and training on the various survival business strategies that could assist business owners, managers, and others survive in the face of VUCA business environment, and also the various challenges that affect their business productivity and sustainability. I look forward to that time that our leader and, of course, all the executive directors will be thinking of organization, having some entrepreneurs coming together and actually educating them, teaching them bookkeeping, teaching them how to make, informed decisions that will push their business forward, teaching them not to be open to, early gratification, teaching them how to deploy, abilities into their business that will enhance profitability. When we do this, we are actually giving back to the society as stakeholders, as people that are interested in growing the businesses of the citizenry of Nigeria. Now, the Nigerian government should also endeavor to raise the Nigerian economy in such a way that will cushion the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous business environment towards making the Nigerian business environment palatable for business growth, productivity, competitiveness, development, and sustainability. The truth of the matter is that, like we said earlier, the issue of multiple taxation is sincerely affecting a lot of businesses. So the government should look at how to cushion it. Recently, I think it was just early in the week, we saw Oyo State bring out the ways by which they will be taxing artisans, barbers, people that run shops and all that, organizers. All these artisans will start paying tax. I'm told that the governor has said, okay, it will be delayed for some time. But of course, it will be implemented over time because government has to look at other fiscal policies to be able to drive the economy. because of the issue of this instability that came in as a result of floating the naira. And of course, the conditions given to us as we go, out to get money for the sustainability of the country. In addition, Nigerian business owners could learn to deploy the several survival business strategies towards raising the propensity of business growth, productivity, competitiveness, development, and sustainability in the long run. Thank you very much for listening. I'm open to taking questions.
Thank you very much, ma.
Wow, that was
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you very much, ma. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that was a very brilliant presentation. Let's put our hands together for her, please. I can't hear the applause. I can't hear the applause. Thank you so very much. That was a well-researched paper. I don't expect anything less from an academic like you, who has a lot of brilliant history behind her. From what she has said, a few of the, I will not attempt to summarize, but a few of the issues she raised really touched me. You know, the Cadbury report of 1992 stressed something, that the health of companies in UK is the health of the UK government, it is the health of the UK economy. And that's what he started with, that the health of the companies in Nigeria is the health of the economy. If the economy is sick, then the people who are in Nigeria will be sick. And that's what we're experiencing, a lot of challenges. She stressed that point very well, and it touched me, and I think that that is the essence of this meeting we're having today, so that we can revise those developments. The philosophy of PCOS is very good that you brought up. Look at the problems, look at the initiatives that have been taken, and see how we can address the various challenges. Very clearly. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. One other issue she raised, particularly as it affects accountants. If you want to survive in a volatile environment, you must increase your streams of income. You must diversify. Entities must diversify. You as a professional accountant must diversify. And it's important that you know that when one stream closes, the other wants to begin to flow. So it's important that you look at other streams of income that will support what you're doing. The issue of training and development, both for the entrepreneur and for employees, is very key. She mentioned the issue of retaining your staff. You know, people, when they have challenges, when organizations have challenges, the first thing they do is lay off staff. But remember that the environment you are going through is a temporary one. It's a temporary situation. That things will improve. So you need to retain your best staff, even if it means negotiating the compensation package so that they're able to buy into it is good. So learn to think of staff retention. Look at the work mode. Encourage remote work situations and see. As accountants, she also suggested that we should assist our organizations with some financial strategies, how they are funding their operations, how they are managing their various product lines. So it's very key. Adaptability of the company. You must stay focused on what is happening in the environment and be able to condition your products to meet the needs of your customers. So once again, very detailed and well-researched paper. Please, question and answers. Questions. I'm using my phone. I may not be able to see the hands that I raised. Please, Anchor, assist me with this.
Yes, sir. We have Semidayo Olajumoke Olowo Layemo FCA. We have our hands. Please, sir.
The chairman. Hello, the chairman. Hello?
We are hearing you, sir.
I think the chairman should call Chief Ibarola to make his own presentation before allowing people to contribute.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine by me. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Please invite him.
Should I do it or the uncle will handle that?
Oh, no, you should do it.
I'm ready with you.
All right, so our special guest, please give us your words of wisdom.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish to appreciate Dr. Saba for that well-researched paper. You have said all. But what I will just add is that, as our chairman said, businessmen in Nigeria are facing lots of problems. Virtually all the raw materials that we are using in Nigeria are imported. And how do we get Forex? There are a lot of problems getting Forex. If you look at the situation, if you have to be realistic, all our politicians, they also scalp for Forex. Their family is not here. So whatever they get, I won't say whatever they steal, are taken out of Nigeria. They are using Nigeria as just their office. You can, if you sit down, look at 90% of them, they don't have their family. At the end of their tenure, many of them get out of Nigeria and they come back to Nigeria to come and contest. That is the problem we have. The problem we have in Nigeria is government policies, is the one destroying business. Those that are not, are yet to. Cost of borrowing is high, and even if you borrow to repay, is problems. As our guest speaker said, even banks do have problem. Many of them are raising capital, and many problems in Nigeria. Problem of energy. Look at petroleum products, as said by our the guest speaker. He said yesterday, fueling 65,000 naira, changing of oil another 40. That's 100. How many people can get 100 and can even do that? Cost of maintenance. If it's how many organizations can continue to spend like that? So virtually all profit and even capital debt. So the business environment in Nigeria is not friendly at all. And it appears our leaders are not getting it right at all. They are not prepared for governance. It is a system of, it is my turn, a Milokan. And they are never prepared, they have met. That's why we find ourselves in this mess. The environment is not friendly, and anybody doing businesses in Nigeria is more or less disturbing himself from what we are seeing. So we cannot just keep quiet as we said. Accountants, professionals should keep advising. That we should be prepared to advise them. As our chairman said, he said we should be prepared because
we accountants must rise to the challenge and make suggestions that will improve the environment in which we do business. Yes, let me recognize Mrs. Temidayo Olajumoke. Please ask your question.
Yeah.
Please, let's be brief so that we can take as many questions
Yeah,
as
good
possible.
evening, our dear Prince, Dr. Essien, the paper presenter, Dr. Shaba, our dear Ogai Barola, and everyone in the house. Let me say that I am impressed by the level of energy that the paper presenter has put into the presentation of this paper. I can see the passion in what she has done so far. I can see that, she's touched by the present situation of the Nigerian nation. It's reflected in her presentation. And I want to believe that all of us accountants should, be affected the same way it is. Finance, as it were, is lifestyle and organize together make any nation, whether public sector organizations, private sector, all of us put together form the nation. And if you look at it critically, vulnerable age bracket as it stands now. I mean, the youth should be the strength of the nation. But if you look at it, most of our youth are not, gainfully employed. A larger part of our youth on the aspect of it is only in Nigeria that I discovered that we are not interested in positive aspect of technology. Of course, we can't exempt ourselves. I have this ideology that if anything is wrong with Nigeria, I shouldn't say I am not in Nigeria. We are together in this. And so, as stakeholders, we should begin to see ourselves as we are together in this. Now, let me say that there are a lot of uncertainties. We are already aware of that. And we also know that there are a lot of complexities. Tax issues have been mentioned, a lot of things. And the ambiguities around the economic situation, everything that we have considered today. But as stakeholders that we are, I think it is high time we don't look at our responsibility as organizations, but we should begin to look at our responsibilities even as individuals. Okay, now we are talking about business owners in Nigeria. Nothing stops me or you that is listening to say, okay, I want to look at 5 businesses that I can support in Nigeria on a pro bono basis. How do I mean? So many businesses in Nigeria have not gotten to the level of hiring professional accountants because they are exposed to a lot of complexities. A lot of business owners in Nigeria struggle to be sole proprietors, so to say. They have not been able to come to the level where they can say they want to put up an outfit that can hire a professional chartered accountant, that can hire a professional tax person and things like that. So we discovered that these people, they still cover the larger part of the economy of Nigeria. And if they are the ones that cover the larger parts, as stakeholders, we can begin to look at us doing things for them free. Today, we are enjoying this training session that is free of charge. Effort has been put into it, and it is one thing, it is a step in the right direction, that the team of MFP has been able to do, because so many of us too might not know the value of what we are enjoying today, but of course, for people that really know, it is enormous. Effort has been put into preparing this, and we are here. So I think the question I want to throw at us is that, what are we doing as individuals, not at organizations now? If I go to the market square and I try to, educate traders on ways to navigate the economy at the moment as business owners, I mean, I shouldn't be looking at a day somebody will pay me to do that. I shouldn't be looking at a day the government I work for, because I work for Ondo State government now. I shouldn't be looking at a day Ondo State government will send me to the market to go and do that, because they might not do that. So we have suggested a lot. In her recommendation, she mentioned government coming in, stakeholders coming in, but I'm only trying to narrow it to the area that the part we are looking at. We have been looking at that angle for too long. The government will come, because we already know that, just like Oga Barola said, people that are at the helms of affairs, most of them does not have anything to lose, whether the Nigerian economy is bad or is good, because they don't have what's really matter to them in Nigeria here. So we should begin to look at making the situation better, so that we will not continue to repatriate our fund. You and I know that if we want to relax now, even at our level, we want to look for another country where we can spend our hard-earned money. So if we help small businesses to thrive, maybe this Nigeria of our dream can come more quickly. Thank you, SARS, for having me.
Thank you for that wonderful suggestion. I think it's something worth noting that we should volunteer to support SMEs as the backbone of the nation's economy. Thank you very much. Dr. Ofo, please.
Yes, sir. Let me stand on existing protocol and join in commending the speaker. It's wonderful. I am glad to be here, and I listened attentively to her presentation. Let me just, I'm gonna do this thing quickly because so that we don't take much of our time. The challenge I have is on the area of government policies, which has also been mentioned here. Let me just draw a typical example that I experienced lately. Somewhere in Ibadan, some years back, I think around 2017 or 2018, we got into cooperative, farming. We went into agric and we were farming. I can tell you, not long ago, about a month or two ago, we are now having the issue of land grabbers. We are contending with. Apart from this, I'm just talking, this is in Ibadan. I am now going back to the east, where I come from. The lands or agricultural things that I got involved in over there, government came up again and said they now want to build airport. Now, what I'm saying, these are investments people have made, but on account of useless government policies, this whatever investment you made has now become, in quotes, risky investment, if at all, if not. So we are talking about this government policies, and that has been the bait of this country. These are not things individuals can do, except if we now want to look at the political economy of this country and do thorough evaluation in terms of objective assessment of how far we can go as a nation in rebuilding Nigeria. If the policies talking about what we are seeing today, they're not listening. You can talk from here to the kingdom, they're not listening. Are there things citizens can do? Citizens across the board, forgetting about their political sides and leanings that is destroying us by introducing these bloody tribal and useless religious things. Are there things we as citizens can do? Because it's gotten to that level. The governments are not listening. All they are doing is corruption. So let me just leave it there because there are so many things. Abacha introduced what was he doing in Sarah? He brought PTF to cushion the effect, and PTF was building infrastructure. Jonathan Goodluck brought in the deregulation thing too, partial deregulation, and he brought in sovereign wealth fund. Currently, we don't have anything, and they are deregulating. At the same time, they are doing whatever then currency, whatever thing they call it. So today we are more or less at a crossroad unless we begin to go back into political actions. I think that was what might save us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor, for the message is very clear. Citizen activism is necessary at this time because what you have is policies that are just put across without any attempt to find out the implications. You know, even in simple economics, when you want to do a certain thing, you look at the implications and unintended consequences. Then you see how you mitigate it. But in this case, we just woke up. We are seeing a lot of electoral policies coming on. I think what we have said so far has to do with government policies are posing serious challenges to businesses and even Nigerians, and they need to be revisited. Thank you so very much for your observation. Let me recognize Elder Abiodun Adedeji, please.
Mr. Chair, and the MD of MFP, special guests and distinguished colleagues, good evening. Well, my contribution this evening to this discourse is to first of all take us to what do we mean by entrepreneurship and our big problem in Nigeria under one minute or 2 minutes max. When we define an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur thrives with or without good or bad policy of government. Entrepreneur, in the real sense of it, is creativity plus commercialization. You can be creative, you can be innovative. It's only when what you are creating becomes commercialized and turns to money, that is when you know that you are an entrepreneur. And when you talk about entrepreneur, entrepreneur does not even need government policy to be good. It also needs environment to be good. In fact, the entrepreneur creates wealth out of problem. However, around the world, most especially the developed world, they know that in the world, you cannot have more than 3% entrepreneur. Every other persons do the business based on a known model, a known parameter. We all know that we are all chartered accountants. The most popular area is audit, tax, advisory services. That is what 90% of accountants knows how to do. Engineer, we know where they can play. And once the economy is not favorable, we know that professionals suffer. So every country around the world recognize this fact that the truth of the matter is that you cannot have more than 2% in a country that will be entrepreneur. So what this developed country has done, when we talk about government policy, it's more than what we are saying. It's to create an environment where multiple income will be generated. For example, for you to learn driving in UK, in Canada, in US, some people are making money for them to even train those to drive. They structure the environment to create a lot of business owners. Sweepers, another people to sweep the road, the street. So they have a lot of structured employment that provide to people. Unfortunately, in Africa, our people don't structure at all. Our government do not have structure at all. That is our big problem. No structure at all. They just take over the government. They now begin to think of what to do, not before they take over. So they have now turned everybody to beggars. And even the most pathetic aspect of it is that even those of us that are educated do not even have adequate information for us to take decision. The data are wrong. Everything is wrong. And it's beyond political parties, it's beyond